property of his own. Generally, he was kind of an unfriendly dick, though. And it was he was designed to be a cute little killing machine. So that they could market their popularity to get the vote. And it worked.
Yep.
And the corporation ended up designing this whole army basically in the background behind them.
Yep.
And it was broadcast live over the internet. However, during the rehearsal, the robots were all fitted with live ammunition accidentally.
Oh.
And they destroyed Tiny in one shot.
Oh.
Which killed his artificial intelligence, and the shards from his AI ended up giving life to the entire robot army.
Oh.
And then the robots went and basically turned against the humans, and the leader of them, known as Mutank, took control, and basically their goal became to eliminate humanity.
Wonderful.
And humanity was forced to live underground. Hey guys, I'm Bill, a one-time Instagram vlogger and now a podcaster.
And I'm Alex, the chaotic neutral.
And together we are the Gaming and Collecting Podcast.
A brother-sister duo.
That talks about gaming.
And also anime.
And don't forget the collecting, sometimes.
Ah, forget it. We're just a nostalgia podcast at this point.
But anyways, guys, thanks for joining us as we discuss the games that shaped us. So, how you been?
We have a guest.
It's Tillard.
It's Tilly. Tilly, say hi. No.
She's hanging out over there.
She's hanging out, or she shouldn't be, but she's gonna be there anyways, because she's naughty.
Well, anyways, guys, so we only recorded an episode like 5 minutes before this, but we're moving on to our next topic.
Wait, we can talk about where we went for breakfast.
Oh, yeah, we did. We went to
our favorite...
the coffee shop.
We got breakfast sandwiches. I got a bacon, egg, and cheese on an everything bagel.
I got the everything, basically the let's put everything on a sandwich.
Yes.
Gave it a try. It was pretty good.
Bill got a cold brew, and I tried an iced maple white mocha. It was a white mocha, which I usually get, but they put a little maple in it, and it was very good. I enjoyed it, and I tried something new. And then we went grocery shopping.
Yep, the classic grocery shopping. And
Bill
then we bought
his tires. Bill filled his tires because he had a tire on 19, and he was driving around with it, and I kept going, Bill, you gotta fill your tires. That's too low. And he finally filled it.
Well, every time I wanted to, it was something would happen.
Excuses. But anyways, he's being safe now.
And then we bought a trash can.
Yeah, we did. I tried to be aesthetic with two cute trash cans, and it wasn't
They
working.
filled too fast.
Yeah, it wasn't working.
They filled too fast, and the bags would always get stuck in them.
Yeah.
And it was always a pain.
So I got new trash cans. I got a new trash can until they give us a recycling can, which I don't know if that's ever going to happen. So for now, unfortunately, we just aren't going to recycle, which we tried. We tried to, but it was filling half of the garage.
Yep.
So we gave up.
Anyways, so moving on from that.
A saga.
Oh, I bought
the bottle saga.
I bought an Inuyasha shirt because anytime you see something Inuyasha, I have to buy it because they're so uncommon these days.
Yeah. I bought Cliff Bars too.
Yeah.
Because I really like the chocolate ones. I like to eat them for lunch. We're very interested.
Cool story. But anyways, so this episode is going to be a bit on
It's sponsored by nothing.
Anyways, so this episode is actually going to be the first of a series that we've been kind of talking about and proposing for a little bit now.
Yes.
Because we wanted to we needed to replace the Pokemon series.
Yes.
Because
even though we still got one more to do.
Yeah, at some point.
We gotta finish it, Bill. You know.
Yeah, until they make another one.
Yeah.
Because you know they will.
Well, yeah, it makes money.
But besides that,
money makes power.
So, the whole point of this podcast is a nostalgia podcast looking back at video games from our childhood that we
Put the tagline
that made an impact. So this series we've actually decided is going to be the first of a number of episodes that we'll do over hopefully the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And we're going to call this series "Looking Back at the Games That Shaped Us," because that's part of the title of this podcast, after all. And the whole idea that we're going to do is each one of these episodes we're going to actually just take a bit of a look. Like these are all going to be shorter episodes, but we're going to take a look back at a game from our childhood that we played the hell out of.
Yes.
And is just like such a nostalgic, iconic game to us.
Yep.
So for this episode, I thought it was appropriate, the first game we talk about, to be Tiny Tank.
Tiny Tank.
Because we've mentioned Tiny Tank a number of times on this podcast. It's an
underrated game.
It is. It is an underrated hidden gem.
Of the PlayStation era.
Yes. So what is Tiny Tank? How do you best describe Tiny Tank?
Tiny Tank.
Tiny Tank is a third-person shooter / platform game.
Yep.
Where you play as a tank.
Yeah.
With attitude.
Yeah. He's spunky.
Very 90s. So I guess to break it down a little bit more. Tiny Tank was released in 1999 in August the 31st. And the game was fully marketed as Tiny Tank Up Your Arsenal. What a name. Although the game officially is known as just Tiny Tank. And it was developed in a collaboration between Appaloosa Interactive, the studio that was originally known as Novotrade, and they were most responsible for developing the Echo the Dolphin series.
Oh, okay.
And Calibri. And then they later changed their name to Appaloosa Interactive.
Yep.
And they made a few games here and there, like mostly a few licensed games. They actually made the first 3D Contra games on PlayStation, which aren't particularly popular, but people know them. But the game was also
been about a little tank.
The game was also co-developed by a studio name called And Now.
Yes.
And And Now is an incredibly short-lived studio because they legit only made 2 games.
Tiny Tank and
Mort the Chicken.
Mort the Chicken.
Mort the Chicken.
Okay.
Now And Now is actually founded by a man named Ed Annunziata.
Yep.
And Ed Annunziata was the creator of Echo the Dolphin.
Oh.
So that's probably why Appaloosa was involved. Appaloosa was not involved for Mort the Chicken.
Oh, okay.
That was just And Now.
They were just like, no, thank you. We do not want this.
So what's interesting is
we will take the Tiny Tank.
So Tiny Tank was, and then it was published by Sony, and MGM Interactive, I guess, produced it.
Oh, okay.
So this game had some names behind it.
Yeah.
So why was it so unknown? Like, why is it not known?
Yeah, why does no one know Tiny Tank besides Cade?
Yeah, besides Cade. Yeah. So the game, it's funny, the Wikipedia article, this game is so obscure that under the development of the game, it literally just says the game was developed as early as April 1998.
Wow. Lots of information there.
Yeah. So I guess, to break down what Tiny Tank is, I guess the plot, so I guess spoilers for anyone who really cares, but about this obscure 1999
Hey, they should. It's wonderful.
This game takes place sometime before 2098 AD.
Oh, that's coming up. No, wait, AD.
No,
Oh, is that
that's now.
I don't know the AD. I'm confused.
We've been in AD since
now I'm gonna sound stupid. That's coming up then.
Yeah. Well, essentially,
Tiny Tank is coming, people.
Essentially, all of Earth's armed forces were disintegrated into one large corporation known as Centrax. And Centrax's whole goal was to create a robot army to fight humanity's wars for them.
Yes.
You can already see where this is going. So mankind would not have to.
Yes.
However, they needed the people to vote, so they set in this whole plan into motion, and they used this mascot character known as Tiny Tank to be their spokesperson to get people to vote. And it was a small little yellow tank with a little personality of his own. Generally, he was kind of an unfriendly dick, though. And he was designed to be a cute little killing machine. So that they could market their popularity to get the vote. And it worked.
Yep.
And the corporation ended up designing this whole army basically in the background behind them.
Yep.
And it was broadcast live over the internet. However, during the rehearsal, the robots were all fitted with live ammunition accidentally.
Oh.
And they destroyed Tiny in one shot.
Oh.
Which killed his artificial intelligence, and the shards from his AI ended up giving life to the entire robot army.
Oh.
And then the robots went and basically turned against the humans, and the leader of them, known as Mutank, took control, and basically their goal became to eliminate humanity.
Wonderful.
And humanity was forced to live underground.
Tiny Tank!
And the whole plot of the game essentially is Tiny is eventually brought back and restored.
Yep.
And he's basically being guided by a female artificial intelligence on board a satellite. Mm-hmm. And basically you have to go through a bunch of levels to stop Mutank and save the world before they remove its atmosphere.
Ah. Oh. Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Yes. So what's funny about the plot of this game is you don't actually get all of it at once.
No.
And it's kind of cool how they portray it, because the game has a bunch of CGI cutscenes that will play in between levels.
Yep.
And those so each one of those cutscenes starts with the tagline 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. And basically they summarize all of the events I just explained.
Yes. In
little pieces. Like they explain the origins of Tiny Tank, how they're trying to get the vote, and everything. Then meanwhile, once you go into actual gameplay levels, you get the future stuff, what's happening now with the female AI in the satellite telling Tiny his goals. Yeah. And it's kind of cool because like gradually as you get through, you learn more and more of what's going on. And what's funny is in levels too, you'll have like little radio conversations because there's like radio between all the robots. Yep. Including Mutank, who's kind of like an on-air DJ these days, despite being the villain of the game. And Tiny's personality is hilarious because he's just a snarky asshole. Yes. Like he constantly like questions everything the humans are doing before like the incident happens. Yeah. It's funny. So the level structure is pretty cool. All the levels are very linear. The basic premise of the game. Oh. Cat's being a psycho back there.
He just sprinted up the stairs.
The premise of the game is each level you have one overlying goal, and basically the levels are semi-open. You kind of have your starting point, and you basically get given what your goal for the level is. Yep. You basically have to find that goal, destroy it, and then you'll end the level. Yeah. So the gameplay is a combination of third-person shooting and platforming. The platforming is kind of more to the background, though. Yep. It's mostly about the third-person shooting because you're literally playing as a tank. Yes. And Tiny has one main gun turret, but you can acquire additional weapons. He can have up to 4 added weapons at a time, each with like different abilities. Like there's rocket launchers, additional turrets, freezing guns, all sorts of cool stuff. Yeah. The rocket launchers in particular are my favorites, but basically they attach to his 4 different ports that he has installed. Yeah. 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And you go through the levels. I mean, it's a live-based game, so it's a little unforgiving at times, but...
Yeah, but that's also classic PS1.
That's classic of the era. Yeah. And what's funny is, though, the dialogue just keeps you always going in, because you always get to listen to, like, the funny shenanigans going on. Oh, yeah. The game over screen is very dark, though. Yes. Because the game over screen is literally the Earth's atmosphere being removed. Ah. Pleasant. There is pretty good level variety, too. Like, some levels you have to destroy this giant, like... the first level's boss is literally this like cowboy bandit robot.
Yeah, and then you get his hat.
Yeah, you get the hat. So
you get his cowboy
can
hat.
drive around with a cowboy. The second is like you've destroyed this flying tank thing. There's like these like giant like laser beam. Basically all things trying to destroy humanity. Yeah. And what's fun about them is, and then there's another level too. There's some puzzle based levels too. Like one where there's one where you have to like kind of get on this it's like this kind of like conveyor belt that, and you have to like basically get off the conveyor into the next portion of the stage. So you have to like time it just right to get there by like freezing the molten metal to get on top of it.
Yep.
And then the next level is like this giant mountain of like nano metal, and your goal is you have to destroy it. So you have to like overheat it, but there's these freezing robots that'll keep keeping it cool.
Yeah.
It's just a cool little puzzle based thing. Like there's a whole bunch of different like level variety, and it's pretty fun. It's challenging. It's a pretty challenging game, I will say. It's definitely of its era.
Yeah.
My favorite though is the humor. Like it's so dry and just just like there's like during the whole things like they'll be like Tiny will be like snarking at them, and they'll be all like the host of like the propaganda films will be all like, but Tiny. You're America's little mascot.
You're America's sweetheart.
And then you'll get the producer in the background whose name is Fred will be like, well, I thought it was this. And they're like, shut up, Fred.
Yeah.
Which is really fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, there isn't much of a multiplayer mechanic. I actually think if there is, it's very basic.
Yeah, I feel like there was.
Yeah, but it was so generic.
Yeah, I don't think we played
because you played as the green Tiny Tank.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because there's actually one very cool level as you go on where Tiny gets his head removed and gets placed on an enemy. Like there's like enemy versions of Tiny
Tanks,
and Tiny Tank's head gets put on and the enemy's head gets put on your body. So what's fun is you have to control Tiny's body, but you can't control the turret on it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, you're controlling Tiny's head on the other one, so you have to actually position. Yeah, I love that. I love the ads.
I found an advertisement of
I might use that as the thumbnail image.
Tiny Tank, and it's and then it's, I'm assuming the F word, you call him Tiny, and he's like coming out of the wall. It's very of the time.
I love the jingle. Clinky, clanky, jinky, tanky, tiny. Look up the Tiny Tank song at some point. Maybe I'll edit it into the episode. I'm not sure yet.
Do the intro.
But, damn. But anyways, guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. And we're back. I guess we don't need you then.
Rude! Fine! I quit the podcast. I quit. Goodbye, girl world.
So...
He doesn't even care.
Because I know you're
full
of it.
He would be happy if I quit.
No, I know you're full of it. So,
I'm starting my own podcast.
Yeah, go for it.
The better gaming collecting podcast.
So, Tiny Tank, when it came out, interestingly enough, many magazines gave the game very positive reviews while it was still in development, and most people pointed out its biggest accomplishments were its humor along with its gameplay.
Yes.
The game itself, upon release, got more mixed reviews. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, the game is flawed. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
Like, the level design probably could be better, and it is a little overly challenging for the time.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure the humor would still hold up today. I find it funny still, personally, but it is very...
It was of the time.
90s in a lot of ways. Especially with how, like, wisecracking and, like, vulgar Tiny can be at times.
Yes.
Especially... Well, actually, the censor beeps make it funnier, to be honest, but, yeah, so... The average review I saw for this game was... It gave it, like... It was either, like, 3.5 out of 5 stars, or it got a lot of 7s and 8s. Mm-hmm. Very, like, middle of the road, like... Generally gave it probably a C+ to a B-.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, if I had to give it a ranking, I would give it probably a B.
Okay.
Like a solid B, because the game, as we've established, is not perfect, but it is so charming.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the game's draw at this point, and I think, too, a lot of games from, you know, the PS1 era, early era games, they have to be charming if you want to revisit them at this point.
Yeah.
Because there's so many other games that are amazing, better graphics. So they need something special.
I mean, graphically, I still think this game looks pretty good.
Oh yeah, for the time
For
that it came
PS1
out,
standards,
yeah.
I mean, they're pretty detailed. Like, even like going from the highly detailed CGI cutscenes to the actual in-game stuff,
Yeah.
it doesn't look that off in a lot of ways. But besides that, I mean, it's a solid game. It's not glitchy. Like, the glitches are probably the weakest aspect of a lot of games, and this one doesn't have a lot of that.
No, I really don't remember a lot of glitching in this game at all.
The soundtrack is very catchy for what it is. Most of it's the humor, though. The humor in the levels is very funny. I love
the voice acting.
I believe the dry, like...
Who voiced Tiny Tank?
I don't know. I know the dry kind of like monotone voice in the background is supposedly Ed Annunziata himself.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure who voiced Tiny. I'd have to look up, see if there is like an IMDb.
Yeah.
Of the
This game really doesn't have a lot of information around it.
No, and it's only really like when I think of who's actually other people who've mentioned it, like besides Cade.
Yeah.
So Nitro Rad did briefly. He didn't review the game, but he reviewed Mort the Chicken.
Yes.
And he had mentioned that the only other game they made was Tiny Tank.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe, too, I think I've read this game had, like, issues getting a publisher. That's why Sony had to step in and do it themselves. Huh. It also did not come out in Japan. It was strictly North America.
Strictly American?
No, it came out in Europe as well.
Oh, okay.
It came out in Europe in 2000. So this was also a pretty late PlayStation game. Honestly, though, like, I'd give this game a hard recommend.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's an expensive game either. Like, I'm pretty sure on eBay right now, if you really wanted to play Tiny Tank, so...
How much would you have to pay to play Tiny Tank? Oh, I love how it appears on Amazon. Like,
yeah.
There's Amazon
so if you wanted to get a pre-owned but good copy of Tiny Tank, complete with manual and tested, they're asking $23.99.
That's not bad.
No, and I mean, a brand new copy, even like a brand new, like, sealed copy is going for like $70 at most.
Dang.
This is not an expensive game at all.
Yeah.
It's very affordable. I mean, granted, it's also because nobody knows about it.
Yeah. I really, like, it is, I do find it so strange that, like, we just remember this game so vividly.
Because we had it.
Well, because we had it, and I guess just not many people had it.
Yeah.
But, like, the people who I talked to who had it loved the game. Like,
they either love the game or they look at it fondly just for what it was.
For how charming it was.
I love the promotional images for this game, though. Like, that one that you found. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who the bleep are you calling Tiny?
Like,
and it's got this, like, angry face.
Maybe that... You know what kind of makes me laugh, though, is looking at that, I'm like... Mom must not have seen that, because if she had, she probably wouldn't have bought this game for us. Or it was because it was for Dad.
It was probably for Dad, because this game's rated T.
Yeah.
And
Mom did not know we were playing this as kids, because I remember playing this as, like, young kids.
No, I think Mom saw us playing it and saw a cute little tank running around on screen. And I mean, honestly, by today's standards, this is no...
Oh, yeah.
This is no more, like, inappropriate than, like, what's on fucking Cartoon Network these days.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, like, it probably wouldn't even be a T rating. It would probably just be, like, a...
E10.
E10.
E10 at most. Because, I mean, it's really not that bad.
I mean, I love the Tiny Tank design, too.
Yeah, he's really cute. Like, he's
a really adorable little tank. Like,
it's funny because you're calling a tank cute.
But he is! Like, he's cute. And, like, it's funny, like, how he doesn't want to be cute, but he is cute.
I like, too, how he can, like, wink.
Yes. He can, like, wink. He, like, emotes really well.
Yeah, the CG cutscenes are, like, the funniest part of the game.
Yeah.
Because he, like, goes super into it. Like, he actually dances around, too, at certain points, which is funny.
Yeah. Like, Tiny Tank, he's just a cute little guy. But he's very sassy. He's full of
he's got a lot of personality. Like, he's very much a 90s mascot. Unfortunately... type in Tiny Tank and Tiny Woman.
Tiny Tanks.
Tiny Woman shirt.
Oh, Tiny Tank top.
Yeah. Yeah, not that.
That's why I've been typing in PS1s. I mean, it still looks like there's fans, though. Look, I found some fan art. Someone drew some Tiny Tank fan art.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful how far you go there, though.
I've learned. I have learned. And I have seen some shit. Anyways.
It's one of those games that you can find tons of video footage of it because there are fans of it that have shared it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like lost media or anything.
No. Like, it's readily available. It's just unknownly available, I guess.
It's just not, it's not super talked about.
No.
It's a very of the times game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd still recommend it.
Yeah.
To this day, it's one of my personal most nostalgic because it was like that one game that we had as a kid that I always remember being like that standout that like whenever you hear about it nowadays, you're always like Tiny Tank. I remember
Tiny
that.
Tank. I remember so fondly me watching you play it, and like it was just always fun because we would always be giggling at like what Tiny Tank said, and like even though it probably wasn't the most appropriate game at the time for us to be playing, we had a lot of fun with it.
I mean, in hindsight, it's pretty harmless, aside from the fact that the entire game is about robots committing genocide.
Well, yeah, that's what it kind of means. Like, I bet at the time of when we were first playing it, because honestly, until you said it just now, that never really clicked in my brain that was what it was about.
Well, yeah, especially the game over screen of the planet's fucking atmosphere getting removed. And I remember you see that and you're like, but I mean, then again, there was a Spy Fox game. One of the Spy Fox games had to do with fucking getting the atmosphere removed.
Yeah.
It's weird how that's a topic.
That one was also rated higher, though. It wasn't like it was.
True.
It was the highest rating of the
Humongous Entertainment.
How do we always bring up Humongous Entertainment at some point?
Because honestly, those games are perfectly fitting for this series.
Tiny Tank, and Putt-Putt, they'd be friends. I bet they hang out in the video game realm. Yes.
I could see Tiny Tank in the Putt-Putt universe.
Tiny Tank.
I kind of want like a little like Tiny Tank display, like
me too.
because he's so cute, but there's like no.
I wonder if we could get like a 3D printed model and then like just paint it or something, or commission it. You might be able to commission it.
Yeah, I don't. I remember when PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale was around, there was this very small contingent of people that were like Tiny Tank.
Tiny Tank. Honestly, he needs to be brought. We need to bring Tiny Tank back.
Yeah,
Tiny
unfortunately,
Tank
I don't.
Needs to come back.
I don't think it's ever coming back.
No.
But we can at least keep its memory alive.
Yeah.
At least put it on a damn PlayStation 5 or something. So,
yeah, give it a port and bring it back.
But yeah, so honestly, guys, I guess if you want, leave a comment about what you guys thought of this interesting new format we're gonna try for like select episodes.
Yeah.
This isn't gonna be every episode of the show, but it's gonna be one every now and then. We'll do like a nostalgic look back or looking back at the games that shaped us, as they say. Gotta bring that title back somehow.
Yes.
But anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on the Gaming and Collecting Podcast. The Gaming and Collecting Podcast can be found on all your major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And you can follow us on all the social media, Instagram, Twitter, Good Pods. And until next time, guys, we will see you all later. Play Tiny Tank.
Yes, play Tiny Tank, and then tell us about how much you love it too, and join our Tiny Tank fan club. I'm starting it. It's going to happen. Bill, you're the first member. And then, Cade, you can also join. Because you like Tiny Tank.